About 9 months ago, I got introduced to who's now a really close family friend who led me through a psilocybin ceremony and had one of the most profound experiences of my life and realized how encapsulated in fear and anxiety I was at the time and how much I was running away from and how it all centered back to not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough and trying to prove my way into love and trying to prove my way into being worthy of being loved. And that moment has taken me down a path for the last 9 months of a lot of study and a lot of trying to understand and a lot of letting go and a lot of trying to piece things back together. And so,
Can I ask you a question? When you
yeah,
did the psilocybin, did you find yourself as the universe at any stage?
yes, I was watching myself enshrouded in darkness, but I wasn't with my body when I was watching myself.
Okay, there's one step further than that. It's when you realize you are the darkness as a total. That's not a bad step though. That's pretty high up there. I called it walking around the abyss. You're looking at the abyss, the emptiness, the darkness. Then suddenly you find you are the abyss, which is a step further. But you're on the right track. You're actually seeing the truth. And once you see the truth of what we truly are, normal life becomes a little bit hard because it seems pointless. There doesn't seem to be a meaning in it. And this is what I hear you describing to me. Your story to me so far has very much reflected my own story because I've had the similar experiences. Like you, I was super successful at a very young age. And I retired when I was 28. And man, the only people I could hang out with were drug dealers who could keep up with my finances or old men, you know?
A hundred
Um,
percent. Because old men are smart enough to maintain a conversation, and young people are
yeah,
too asleep.
yeah.
And so it's a weird place to be in.
Mm. And so the step forward is to work out how to get back to that space where you know yourself as everything, or at least you know yourself as the darkness. Because a lot of people are frightened of the darkness, but the truth is, what we are is the totality of the universe. And when you look at it, it's darkness or emptiness. But when you're experiencing yourself as it, you're not looking at it, you are every point in the universe. And so, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm aware of you, but I'm also aware of every point in the universe being myself right now, not from a concept, but from my direct experience in this moment. This is a continual satori that's been going now for 25 years. And this is where you're headed if you want. It's absolute freedom. I'm not attached to anything. I can't be. That's not possible. I'm absolutely free.
Mm-hmm.
This is what spirituality is really about, finding this space as self continuously. It's commonly called enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
You got a leg up through psilocybin. You got a glimpse. But the glimpse is actually an invitation to do the work. It's an invitation to come home.
Mm-hmm.
The collection of knowledge is the booby prize because it doesn't help. I know you've been collecting knowledge, but it doesn't actually help. Because what we're looking for is beyond the mind, not within the mind. The mind can support what is found, but it can't actually create it. And so the emptiness is already there. The pure awareness that is aware of your mind is already there. It's just that it's not aware of itself. It's aware of your mind and through your senses the world. In my mind, there's awareness aware of the mind also, but there's also awareness aware of itself, and it's continuously aware of itself, and that's enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that an individual can become enlightened. As a matter of fact, when enlightenment occurs, the I disappears.
Mm-hmm.
There's a noticeable absence of it, which is really quite a relief because without an I, you don't have any problems, really.
Yeah.
So you're headed, absolutely headed in the right direction. The next steps are difficult because what the mind has to learn to do without psilocybin is actually surrender unconditionally to that space. And that's the most difficult thing in the world to learn because we're not programmed for surrender. We're programmed for survival. Our whole mind, our whole body is a survival mechanism. Yet someone who's awake or enlightened has basically defeated the survival mechanism because it has surrendered unconditionally. And that's a death. It's a death of the thing that's in the way, the problem. It's called I. The I is the problem. And so you're on the right track completely. Right track, sorry, completely. It's just difficult. It's difficult because you're collecting knowledge, which I did for years, thinking that somehow that would get me somewhere, but it doesn't, because that knowledge is totally available to you when you wake up through the Akashic records. It's all there if I want to access it. I don't have an interest in it, fortunately, because my mind likes to do nothing.
Yeah. You know what's funny about you saying that is I've had this interesting feedback loop where I go to sit down and start reading, and are you familiar with Dr. David Hawkins?
Yes.
I've really loved his work. It's helped me understand a lot of things, especially about the escalation of consciousness, and especially at the beginning of my journey. But I keep having this feedback loop where I'll go read a book and then I'm like, okay, I know all these things now, but it doesn't change the here and now. Well, let me go try and learn something else to see if that will change the here and now, yet it doesn't change the here and now.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This might blow you away, but the definition of enlightenment is knowing yourself as everything continuously, but not from an I perspective. Now that is God. To know yourself as every particle in the universe, you're knowing yourself as God, because that definition of God is every particle in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's blasphemy, and a couple of 100 years ago it would have got burnt by the Christian church for saying that. While people danced around celebrating, but but that's the experience, and the reason that's not that common in the West is because of Christianity. Anyone who started to find themselves, as you started to find yourselves and started to talk about it, would probably get persecuted, possibly executed. And so in the West, for the last 2,000 years, Christianity has kept awakening, if you like, out of the question.
Mm-hmm. Because
So
I can't control an awakened person.
yeah, so we had to look towards. I had to look towards the East, India actually, to look for where people actually talked about the experiences I was having.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just unknown in the West. Psychology doesn't recognize it. Mind you, psychology doesn't even recognize energy. So, I see psychology as in the dark ages still.